I get a lot of questions about SPF. Can you please recommend me a good SPF? Can you please tell me which SPF would be suitable for my skin, or I'm not happy with my SPF? I've literally got you covered. Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to Skin Masterclass. I'm Chiram, your personal skincare coach, teaching you effective ways of achieving your healthy, perfect skin through education and well-being. And today, I have one of the most highly requested videos. I'm going to actually cover the difference between mineral physical SPFs and chemical SPF, the UVA and UVB protection, and what does this mean? What does the SPF protect us when it says it's SPF 30 and when it says it's SPF 50? And then I'm going to be breaking it down to what are the best chemical-based sunscreens that you can use versus what are the best physical mineral-based sunscreens that you can use according to each skin type as well. So if you do like this skin education as part of combining your skincare routine and finding the best products that work for you, do not forget to subscribe, give me a big thumbs up so it encourages me to do more videos like this. Right, now let's get into it. Okay, so first of all, I have to talk about UVA and UVB. I know this is gonna sound that I'm taking you back to your chemistry or your physics days, but it's very important for us to understand so you can make that decision on your own. And it's also very good to understand so you can educate your children as well, because I feel like children need to be educated in sun protection, especially now. So we have science backing the damages of sun rays. So it's our obligation to teach our children so they can teach their children, so they can teach their children. So it all comes, education comes part of a backing of science. So that's why I really want to explain to you the difference of UVA and UVB and what this means in terms of physical versus chemical sunscreen. The easiest way is imagine UVA and UVB. What differentiates the UVA and UVB is the A at the end and the B at the end. So UVA is associated with the premature aging. So A stands for aging versus UVB, B stands for burning. Internal aging is inevitable. So that will always happen. So we will lose collagen, we will lose elasticity, we will lose moisture as we age. This is the things that we cannot change. But what we can change is, or what we can delay, is our premature aging. And premature aging comes from a lot of factors, and sun is one of the most contributing factors of why people prematurely age. That's when we start getting melasma, hyperpigmentation, fine lines, fine wrinkles. These are all associated with premature aging. And premature aging happens when sun reflects on your skin or comes to your skin and it creates free radicals. So free radicals are actually, they define as an atom or a molecule, and it's not stable. So when you imagine this, there's a chemical reaction going always in our body, and when we create a free radical, it's, imagine of this really, really unstable, shortly lived reactive atom. And what it does, it attacks the DNA. So it tries to damage your DNA and destructure your DNA. So what we need to do is to prevent these free radicals happening on our skin. So how we can do that is use antioxidants. So antioxidants is the greatest way to mop out any of these free radicals. And what they do is that they neutralize the free radicals and make them ineffective, so make them inactive. So that's why all antioxidants, eating antioxidants and applying antioxidants on our skin is very important. And then also SPF, so using sun protection. Now let's talk about mineral, which is also classified as physical sunscreen, and also chemical sunscreen. So there's a lot of difference actually in terms of the application and also in terms of the formulations. And I'm going to be telling you which one I prefer later on, so you have to carry on watching. But anyway, I'm going to give you the best option of both chemical and physical during this video, because there are some people that do not like the use of physical sunscreens versus there are also people who do not like the use of chemical sunscreens. So I want to make this more of a broad video that you can find information for all. Right, so you know now the UVA and UVB. So this is actually quite interesting. I don't know many people would know this, but laboratory results of SPF 30, SPF 15, SPF 50 is all done based on UVB protection, so not UVA protection. So what was UVA? Premature aging. No, it's not done on that. It's done on UVB, so burning protection essentially. What does that actually mean? The SPF rating is that There's laboratory testing going on human volunteers and generally on untanned places, which is buttocks. No, but seriously, do take me seriously here. So you've got two buttocks, let's say. So one, they put the SPF, and that other one, they do not put the SPF, and then they'll put UV blue light on top of that specific zone. So how they do this, so they take the number of seconds it takes a skin patch to slightly redden or burn, essentially, when covered with sunscreen versus how long it takes for the non-SPF part to redden. So let's say the SPF part takes 300 seconds versus the other part takes 10 seconds. They do 300 divided by 10, and that's your SPF 30. Let's say it takes 500 seconds versus 10 seconds. They do SPF, then they do 500 divided by 10, and that gives you SPF 50. When sometimes it says SPF 50 plus, that doesn't necessarily mean it's 51. For it to be approved by FDA to be SPF 50 plus, it needs to minimum show characteristics of SPF 60. So that would mean it takes 600 seconds to burn that skin versus 10 seconds the un-SPF'd part. So 600 divided by 10, that makes it SPF 60, and then you can put SPF 50 plus on the sun protection. Another question I really get, does it really matter between like using SPF 30 and SPF 50? So that's a very good question. So it's all about the consistency and the amount that you put, not so much the sun protection factor as such. Of course, that's going to be a difference between SPF 15 and SPF 50, because then that's the marginal difference. But even so, I'd rather you use something that you like and apply it like a thick layer versus if you use something once a day and you're out and about all day and you apply a thin layer. So it's all about the amount you apply and the consistency that you apply it. That's actually SPF 50 plus filters 98% of UVB versus 96.7% filtered by SPF 30 sunscreens. So that's only 1% different. So there is not gonna be anything that protects you from UVA and UVB 100%. That's all up to how much you apply, and then you also have to wear a hat, wear sunglasses if you want to get that 100% protection. You can't just rely on the sun protection factor. So the marginal difference between SPF 30 and SPF 50 is actually 1%. So that's why it's not so much of a great deal if you say to me, no, you might only want to apply SPF 50. If you want to, that's great, but I'd rather have you apply all the time and religiously and consistently. That's what I was trying to make. So mineral, as in physical, is what protects you against UVA and UVB. So UVA, as I said, aging, and UVB against burning. So broad spectrum. That, in my opinion, makes it the best choice, because then you know that when you're applying a mineral or physical-based SPF, you are getting a broad spectrum coverage. Versus chemical is only protects you from UVB. I would generally stick with mineral and physical-based just for the fact that it does protect you broad spectrum. So physical sunscreens, they are also called mineral sunscreens because they contain minerals like zinc oxide and titanium dioxide. So some brands say it's physical, some brands say it's mineral, they mean the same thing. Versus chemical sunscreens, I can tell you the ingredients that you would find in chemical sunscreen is oxybenzone and octinoxate. And for Supergoop, for example, they use more of a clean chemical base, which is avobenzane, homosalate, octisalate, and octocrylene. So these are the terms that you would see in chemical sunscreens. Physical sunscreens sits on top of the surface of the skin and reflects the light. So your skin doesn't actually absorb the heat because it's reflected by the sun protection, which is great because chemical sunscreens, how they work is that they use chemical carbon compounds that convert that UV radiation into heat, which is later released by the body. But that chemical reaction still needs to take place, which means the chemical sunscreen is actually absorbed by the skin for it to be working, so it penetrates deeper into the skin. And that's why I'll say the physical based sunscreens, you can feel it more on your skin, but the reason why chemical sunscreens are sometimes preferred over physical sunscreens, or up to 2019 I'll say, is because it's invisible, it's sometimes weightless, and it also leaves more of a velvety finish versus The mineral ones leaves more of a glossy finish, and it's more, I'll say you feel it more, it's a little bit heavy. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't find good SPF technologies with physical SPFs at the moment. Physical sunscreens do not irritate the skin because it's not absorbed by the skin, right? So it's great for sensitive skin, it's great for rosacea skin, it's also great for acne prone skin. If you have acne prone and hyperpigmented, like easily hyperpigmented skin that is very readily gets affected by the sun, I would definitely go for physical based SPFs because it won't irritate your skin, it won't clog your pores, it's more of an easy formula and it easily washes off as well. Versus the chemical SPF, because it penetrates deep into the skin, it could irritate you. If you are sensitive, it can sensitize you. And also, if you're acne prone, it can irritate your acne and produce more acne. And again, if you are prone towards getting hyperpigmentation, it's also not preferred because that heat that your skin absorbs could speed up your melanocytes, which is your pigment producing cells, to produce even more melanin. So that's why it's better choice to go for mineral based SPFs. So the physical base, because it sits as on top of the surface of the skin, you don't have to wait for it to work. So let's say you're out and about and you need to top up your sun protection, it's the best option because as soon as you apply it, it works because it reflects the light. Whereas with chemical SPF, you have to wait 20 minutes for it to actually take place, for the skin to absorb it, and for the skin to actually acknowledge it and convert that UV rays to heat that is later deflected by the skin. So that's why, again, mineral-based SPF, in my opinion, is much more effective because it starts working straight away. There's more chemical-based SPFs out there versus physical-based SPFs because people or brands would always prefer to create something that is more smooth to touch, more velvety, more easier to apply underneath makeup, and they would want you to repurchase, so they don't want it to be a one-off purchase. And that's the reason why lots of brands still produce chemical-based SPFs, because it is an alternative choice to use as a primer. It is an alternative choice to use underneath the makeup because it sits very well underneath the makeup. You can actually formulate better with chemical-based SPFs versus with physical zinc oxide. It's a little bit more harder to include actives. But wait, because I'm going to be talking to you about how now the technology is more developing towards the physical sunscreens, which is great. Right, if you actually got to the stage without skipping any of the skin education parts, I give you 2 big thumbs up, because that means you are aware that knowledge is power and we have to be educated consumers to educate others, to educate our children, and to be more knowledgeable of where our money goes, because you pay money to buy these creams, the skincare, so it's your right to know why is it good for your skin, so you can educate the crowd. And who knows, you might even start a conversation with your partner over dinner. You're like, by the way, did you know how physical sunscreens worked? And amaze them. Or your friends, like, it's just a great way. Okay, now let's talk about the best chemical sunscreen out there. And I'm just gonna give you the brand name, and you probably would have heard them, Supergoop. Like, in my opinion, I think they have the best chemical sunscreens because they use clean chemistry. It's weightless, you can use it as a primer, you can use it before makeup, it's easily absorbed to the skin, it doesn't leave a greasy layer. I do think their formulations are actually quite nice. It's not my choice, and I'm going to be telling you about my choice later on, because I'm all up to UVA and UVB broad spectrum protection, and I am also acne prone, and I also do hyperpigment very, very easily, and I've already started to see some of my beauty spots forming, so I do really want to protect that. And I also want my SPF to do just more than protect me against the sun. So I'm going to be talking to you more about that. But the ones that I would recommend from Supergoop is the Unseen Supergoop Sunscreen Broad Spectrum SPF 40. It's very readily available. You can get it on Sephora. It's an affordable SPF. So the other one is obviously the Daily Dose Vitamin C Plus SPF by Supergoop, which is recently launched. And just before this has launched, I did say that 2-in-1, 3-in-1 formulas of serum-based formulas with vitamin C is going to be on the rise, and then Supergoop announced that they have actually came up with this daily dose vitamin C plus SPF formula, which, looking at the ingredients, is, I think, great. So it's a clean chemical SPF. So it is a chemical, it's not mineral, because zinc oxide and titanium dioxide, they work on different pH levels, so it's really hard to formulate with vitamin C and zinc oxide and titanium dioxide. That's why it is a chemical-based SPF. A good advantage of this is obviously it's got 14% vitamin C brightening complex, that's made out of 10% vitamin C ethyl ascorbic acid, 2% plum extract, the cacao do plum extract, which is great for brightening, and also 2% niacinamide. So you have your vitamin C, you have your plum extract, and your niacinamide inside your SPF protection. So just looking at the pictures and also application, I haven't tried it yet, but it does look like it glides on really well, and it does give you that lovely glossy sheen to your face, and it reduces the appearance of pores because it sits really well on the skin. At the same time, it will help out evening out your tone as well due to the vitamin C inside. I would probably not use this SPF if you're already using an antioxidant serum or vitamin C anyways, but it goes on to the overdosing of vitamin C. You don't want to use L-ascorbic acid or any other form of vitamin C and then finish off with daily dose vitamin C SPF. That's just too much. So I'll say if you don't use vitamin C already and you want to introduce it, you have dry skin, you have not acne prone skin, and you want a nice sheen and nice even glow on your skin, this would be a good SPF. If you don't mind using a chemical sunscreen and you don't want that glossy sheen, you don't need an SPF, you don't need a vitamin C because you're already using possibly vitamin C or any other antioxidants into your routine by other products, and you want more of a matte, more of a weightless finish, then the unseen Supergoop would be the one that you would go for. Not the one that I would go for. Now let's talk about physical sunscreens and what I would recommend. Right, the one that I would prefer for acne prone skin is definitely going to be the Elta MD UV Clear. And it does say that it's suitable for acne-prone, sensitive, rosacea, hyperpigmented skin. So basically that's my skin type, and I would go for that. It's got niacinamide, it's got zinc oxide, it's got transparent zinc oxide, and I'll say there's two options. There's the clear option and there's also the tinted option. If you are I'll say more of an olive skin tone or a darker skin tone, I would say go for the tinted option so you don't get that white cast. However, if you are like quite fair, I would go for the untinted, so the clear option. It does not leave a white cast, by the way, but zinc oxide would tend to be a little bit harder to work on. So I would essentially go for the one that is tinted, so it's more suitable for my skin. The other one that is really good, and it's actually won so many awards this year, is the Ilia SPF Super Serum, and it's tinted. So again, tinted means it actually combines iron oxide. Because there's a white cast, people tend to avoid it, but as soon as you put a tint into it with an iron oxide, it would actually make it more appropriate for any skin tone, for any skin type. So that's the reason why it's good to have an option where you have the iron oxide included. This one specifically combines hyaluronic acid, which is great for hydration. It's got squalane and niacinamide. So it's got these super power actives, a brightening complex and also hydrating complex included in the serum SPF with a nice tint. Right, I can't actually try it here because they don't sell it in Malaysia, unfortunately. So that's something that I'm keeping my eye out, and as soon as it is going to be available, I would like to go and try and find the appropriate tint for my skin so I can start using it. The other one is the It Cosmetic. So the It Cosmetic, they have two options, the CC, Your Skin But Better. There's an oil-free matte option, and there's also a full coverage for dry skin option. So if you are more of an oily skin option, you could go for the oil-free matte. But if you do have more of a dry skin and you still want a lovely coverage without the need of using a makeup, then the It CC one is for you. You definitely don't need to apply a makeup afterwards because it's full coverage. So that's perfect. So it's a 2-in-1 because it's a makeup and it's also an SPF. The other one that I use, because I lived in France for 3 years, so Avène was very widely available in France, and that's the reason why it was like actually my preferred choice at the time. I would probably now go more towards Ilia or Elta MD if it was more available here, but because I have Avène, actually, I think I had 3-4 bottles that I've just stored. I'm so sorry. As you can see, it's a different day, different outfit. And I then later on discovered when I was like going through the rules that unfortunately I thought I filmed something, but in the end I totally missed it out. So here you go. This is like the continuation of the video, so what I want to talk to you about. So lastly, where I left you with, I've earned the SPF plus 50, and that's really good for sensitive skin. But I would say this specific formula and the way that it sits on the skin and the consistency is quite I wouldn't say like heavy, but you do feel it on the skin. So I would say it's definitely more suited towards normal to dry skin. If you are oily skin, I don't think this would be the best option for you. So if you are oil free and if you want coverage, you can go for the It's Cosmetic oil free version. Or if you are acne prone and if you are hyperpigmentation prone and you want to go for something that does not so much have a tint, but it's just like a sunscreen on its own, then the Elta MD UV Clear Acne Sunscreen would be the best suited option for you. I get a lot of questions about as well. So how often do I need to reapply my sunscreen? So actually, the best answer to say is that you have to be reapplying your sunscreen every 2 to 3 hours. The reapplication of SPF, I would say it's probably the downside of applying SPF, because I don't know anyone who would particularly enjoy reapplying SPF, especially it's cream-based SPF on top of their makeup or their concealer. And especially if you are living like this part of the world, I'll say now currently I'm in Malaysia, you get very sweaty, which would mean that obviously your SPF would need to be more water resistant and more sweat resistant. So what I'm trying to say is that the best option for reapplication is brush on mineral based SPF. So this is more of a powder based SPF, and I would feel like, especially like talking to lots of dermatologist friends, lots of my own friends, and you know, just like from my own personal experience as well, it's if for example I apply my SPF at 10 o'clock and then I go out and I've got some like concealer on, or I've already have like maybe makeup on, then the best way is to use a powder SPF. So there's two that I would like to talk to you about today, that again, these are all physical zinc based, so zinc oxide based. First one is the Color Science, and it's called Sun Forgettable Brush On Sunscreen. So it's got an algae extract. It's fairly reasonable in the price. So how you would work this is it's like a brush on and you swipe it across the face, and it's a mineral based powder SPF. So this is perfect because then you're not reapplying with your hands, right? You're applying with a brush, and also it's not cream based, so it won't feel very heavy on the face, but in fact it will just brush on like normal powder, translucent powder, and it's got the added SPF on top of it. So this is perfect if you are acne prone or if you have oily skin. The second option that I would like to talk to you about is, it's a bit more pricier, but I would say you pay for what you get, is a Zoe, I think you pronounce it either Zedo Skin Health or Zoe Skin Health. It's a sunscreen powder brush spectrum. So again, it's broad spectrum, which means that it protects you against UVA and UVB, and it's mineral based. What I especially really like about this specific powder formula is that it contains vitamin A, C, and E, which is a great antioxidant to have. What I really like about this is that you can actually remove the brush applicator, wash it, and you can click it back on. So you can click it off and on. The reason why it's also good for you to wash the brush is so that you don't have bacteria or dirt accumulating on the brush. So you can essentially just pop it in and out of a hot water, you kill the bacteria, you click it back on, you let it air dry, and there you go, you're good to go. So this one, the physical based ones, I am specializing on the acne prone. I did say that's great for acne prone, but not necessarily only acne prone people can use it. All skin types with all skin needs would be able to use what I've actually just said to you in terms of this SPF powder base. I've covered most of the things that I wanted to cover. Again, as with everything, there's always more to learn and always more to share. So if you like this video, please do not forget to give me a big thumbs up. I know you can't give me 2 thumbs up, but what you can do is give me 1 big thumbs up on YouTube, and then go and follow me on Instagram, which is @SkinMasterclass, and say hello there as well and like my pictures. And I would love to have you part of the Skin Masterclass, so we can connect, we can talk about skincare, we can chat about skincare, we can learn more about skincare together. So I really hope you enjoyed this video, guys, and have a brilliant day. Bye.